Hey YouTube, this is Jane Stormcatcher from Team Shadow Strike, and first off, let me say, guys, sorry for that. It's been a while since I've made another video. As you can probably tell, I am pretty freaking tired, but I wanted to make some more videos and post some up for you guys. It was a long day, guys, for me, and I had a couple of good videos that I wanted to make for you guys. So this is going to be a deck profile, as you can probably tell from. Let me get rid of these pop-ups here. This is going to be a deck profile, as you can tell from the video description. And you might find this a little bit weird because I have never done this clan for you, which is Nectar. I have never done a Nectar deck for you guys, and I know this is not sleeve like I normally would, but the reason is because I traded away one of my decks and got a new deck from a friend of mine named Aaron. I really wasn't using my Dark Irregulars anymore. They were literally just sitting in my bag, and I was not touching them. So I decided to put them all up for trade. My friend Aaron was interested in the deck, and he traded me his Nectars, and then he also got me a couple more things that I needed for my Genesis deck, which my Genesis deck is finally almost done. It's going to be up. I'm going to be bringing you also my Minerva deck finally. There is 2 proxied Minerva. I hate doing that, but I've waited so long that I don't want to wait anymore. The 2 Minervas have been ordered, so once they get here, they're just going to get put in. So here is my thoughts on Nectar. I think they introduced this clan at the wrong time. Putting it in set 5 really was a bad move, in my opinion. Set 5, if you were playing Vanguard around that time and you know your set numbers, set 5 was Draconic Overlord the End, Majesty Lord Blaster, and Phantom Blaster Overlord, the 3 big guys of that set, mostly for the End and Majesty, but it was clear that those were the 3 money bringers. And then they were like, okay, guys, you're going to get Draconic Overlord the End. You're going to get Majesty. You're going to get Phantom Blaster Overlord. Oh, and here's Nectar. Now, looking at Nectar for the very first time, the Musketeer, Lily deck, whatever, I didn't really like it at all. The only Nectar deck that ever intrigued me was the Sephiroth build, and the only reason I ever saw that build was my friend Ryan had a Sephiroth deck a long time ago. I don't know if he still has it or not. But, I just never really liked it, but I did like how the Musketeers looked. I thought the artwork was cool. I just never got around to building the deck, because then when Nectar got more support in set 8, I was getting into set 8 for Aqua Force. But I told myself, one day maybe Nectar, they will intrigue me. And then as I started reading up on what they're coming out with and what they have now, thanks to set 14 Brilliant Strike, I was like, you know what, I'm going to give this a shot. So I asked Aaron if we could do a trade for the Nectar deck, since he wanted my Dark Irregular stuff, and he said yes. So he gave me his deck. I'm going to get Vanguard and second layer sleeves for this, but I made some changes to it. Me and Aaron, we do play a little bit different style. So I'm going to get right into this. I will say beforehand, if you are looking for a good budget deck, Nectar is, if you build it, because you can build it straight out of set 14 and use some older stuff, and the deck is really easy to build. So this is a good budget deck. You can build this deck for under $80 easy. So anyway, I'm just going to jump right into this deck, so enjoy, guys, and I'll explain my choices and my reasons. So for the starter, I started off using, where did it go? I started off using this starter, Broccoli Musketeer Kira. This is the grade 3 searcher for Nectar, but it seems like I draw my grade 3s, which are, pretty quickly, so I decided to take it out, and I decided to just go with Maiden of Facilis. This is the one that most players are using right now if you have a Nectar deck. Basically, pretty simple. If it boosts an attack and it hits your opponent's Vanguard, you move it to the Soul, and you look at the top 5 for a grade 1, right? Yeah, and then you can Superior Call it to the field and at rest. So it is good to maybe get you an early good boost for your Vanguard. Trigger lineup is I play 4 of the Night Queen Musketeer Danielle crit and 2 copies of Chestnut Bullet. So 6 crit. And then I play, crap. 1 second, guys. Gotta get rid of this stupid thing or else it's gonna turn my computer off. 4 copies of Blue Rose Musketeer Ernst for 4 stand, and then I play 2 more stand triggers in the form of Watering Elf. So I play 6 crit, 6 stand, and then 4 Sweet Honey. So 6 crit, 6 stand, and 4 heal. It's been working very well. The stand triggers help me get wins against other decks that really this deck has no business playing against. I did some test playing against my friend Zach's Raging Form deck the other night. Now, granted, he never got to break ride. He always had to ride Mordred Phantom all 3 games. But even though he did have quite a bit of other good key cards, I was able to keep up with him until I was ready to make my pushes, and the stand triggers really helped me with that. The stand triggers really can sneak up and bite someone. You can play draw triggers if you like, but I figure with this deck having all the cards that it does to help Superior Call and look at, and just that you can get by without the draw triggers. But if you want to play the draw triggers, it is a good option. I'm not going to knock it. For grade 1s, we play 4 copies of Red Rose Musketeer Antonio. So this is our new Neo Nectar Perfect Garden. It looks a lot better than that first one they gave us. 4 copies of Corolla Dragon. I'm playing this simply just to help increase numbers. I know it's not a Musketeer, but if I can get this off the top with my starter in the beginning, I'm really glad to stick it behind my Vanguard. And plus, I like this card because to me it looks like Flygon, and Flygon's one of my favorite Pokemon. 3 copies of Lotus Druid. Grade 1, when it's called, give 2k to a Neo Nectar. Really good, especially when you call it off the top with Venus's Limit Break. And then 3 copies of Tulip Musketeer Mina. This is the self-damager. I like playing these because it helps me recycle the stand triggers, recycle the critical triggers, and it helps me get cards back in the deck that I just want to keep. These cards are really, really good, the self-damagers, if you know how to abuse them properly. Grade 2s. 4 copies of White Rose Musketeer Alberto. This is our damage unflipper for Neo Nectar, and since it is a Musketeer, that really helps out a lot, especially with the Musketeer Legion stuff coming out down the road. 3 copies of Iris Knight. This is just our standard 10k vanilla. It's the grade 2 ride that I want to get. I played 2 copies of Hey Yo Pineapple just because it's easy to get a field, and we don't really have a 12k attacker in this deck, so he's probably your next bet. I mean, there is a 12k attacker for Musketeers, but since this is not a pure Musketeer build, there's no reason to play it. And then for my final grade 2s, I played 2 copies of Tulip Musketeer Imaria. It's the grade 2 self-damager. Again, just to continually recycle the triggers, because this deck does Superior Call quite a bit, so you can keep those triggers in the deck, and the more that you use the Limit Break or your Superior Calls out of the deck, it just keeps the triggers in the deck, so in the late game, you're more than likely to trigger check. So. And then for the grade 3s, pretty simple here. We're going to be playing 4 copies of Deep Green Lord Master Wisteria. This is the Neo Nectar Break Ride. In case you are unaware, his ability is when a Neo Nectar rides this unit, you may counterblast 1 and choose up to 2 of your Neo Nectar rear guards, and then search your deck for up to 1 card with the same name as each of those cards and call them to separate rear guards. Then shuffle your deck, choose your Vanguard, and that unit receives plus 10,000 power. So it does help you get a field pretty quickly. The Break Ride is very, very good at doing that. One thing I wish, one thing I'd be interested to see is if someone could take the Sephiroth Ride Chain and mix it with that. That'd be pretty cool. And then his other abilities, when he's boosted by a Neo Nectar, he gets plus 2,000 power. So if you boost him with Corolla Dragon, it gives him it's a 21k column for your Vanguard, which is good. And then for the final grade 3 and I guess the boss of the deck, if you will, 4 copies of Maiden of Venus Trap Reverse. So this is kind of like our ultimate boss monster for the deck. Her ability is actually pretty sweet. Her ability is Limit Break. You may counterblast 1, choose one of your rear guard Neo Nectars and lock it. And then when you do that, you get to look at the top 5 cards of your deck and search for 1 Neo Nectar among them and Superior Call it, and that unit gets plus 5,000 power. So it is really good if you can Superior Call off the top of the deck another grade 3 or maybe Hey Yo Pineapple. Either one of those is going to be a 16k attacker. So really good to attack with them first. Then that way, if you hit that stand trigger, you can stand them back up and give them the 5,000. So then they're 21. So her Limit Break, it's not, oh my god, but it is good. And then with the Break Ride, you can get a total of 3 Superior Calls that turn if you can pull it off right. And then her second ability, which you're probably not going to use that much, is Counterblast 1. She gets 2,000 power. But it is good for what it is. I mean, this is by far the best Neo Nectar deck that you could probably be playing. I mean, not mine specifically, but something around this sort of build, using the stuff from set 14, in my opinion, just mainly because of the break ride. That's my Neo Nectar deck profile. I've done some playtesting with it. I'm very happy with it. I'm looking forward to the Musketeer Legion stuff. It's not going to be one of the decks that I'm in a rush to finish, so if you are a Neo Nectar fan, I'm going to build the Neo Nectar Legion, but keep in mind with set 16, I have a lot more. The main decks that I'm going to be finishing first are my Metalborgs and my Seekers. So I am going to be building the Musketeer Legion, though, because I will admit I have had quite a bit of fun with this deck in the last couple days that I've gotten to playtest around with it a little bit. So in the comment section below, if you have any suggestions for me, since this is pretty much my very first Neo Nectar deck, I'd be more than happy to hear you out, because I do not claim to be an expert on Neo Nectar. It does have a lot of similar mechanics from other decks that I am very familiar with, but it is a fun deck. If you are looking for a good budget deck, this is another really good option. Like Nubatama, it has a very good mechanic. Nubatama with the binding, Neo Nectar with the ability to Superior Call and leave the triggers in the deck and shuffle every single time that you perform that Superior Call out of the deck, which does keep your deck random. And I like this guy a lot, even though the entire deck is not Musketeer. I use his ability almost every single time that I get him, and people say, well, why is that? Well, his ability, I don't believe I said it when I showed him, is you may Counterblast 1 and put him on the bottom of your deck, and if you do, you look at the top 4 cards for a Musketeer, and if there's one among them, you Superior Call it. So you get to put your stand trigger back in the deck. So that's what makes this deck really good. That's why I would play 4 Blue Rose if you're playing Neo Nectar right now, because if I can still hit one of my grade 2 self-damagers, one of my 4 Antonios, one of these, you know, I mean, there's not a lot of Musketeers in here, but if I do happen to hit one of them, then it's great. And if not, it puts a stand back in the deck. So obviously, this stand trigger will get a lot better once we get more Musketeer support. But anyway, guys, I hope you enjoyed this deck profile. So in the comment section below, if you have any suggestions for me, and maybe a different way I can build the deck, or maybe just anything, I'd be more than happy to hear what you have to say. So anyway, guys, I hope you enjoyed this deck profile. Make sure you subscribe to my channel if you already haven't. If this is your first time viewing my channel, thank you very much for checking me out. I hope you check out more of my content. I do deck profiles, discussions, and I've recently started doing monthly giveaways, which, by the way, my new giveaway for the month of September is up now. And if you have not heard of who the winner was, and you're wondering if it was you or not, you can also go check that out. So anyway, guys, I hope you enjoyed this very much so please leave me some sort of feedback in the comment section below. Thank you very much for watching, guys. Make sure you comment, rate, subscribe, and thumbs up this video for me, and I'll see you later.